Hello guys, this is Panzermeister 36. Now, I did read through your comments at the end of the last quarantine challenge video I did, and so I'm going to give you guys part 2, today's video, and I'm going to show you guys my collection of finished models with a big asterisk on finished, because this is actually going to be more like quarantine challenge part 2, unfinished model Boogaloo or something like that, because I think I have more unfinished kits than I do have finished ones. Now, before we get there, I want to point out and also kind of like thank everybody, because the quarantine challenge is spreading faster than the corona. I shouldn't say that. But it's really, really interesting to see everybody's collection. Like, we already have I probably watched 5 or 6 videos at least of other people who have, shown their workspace, shown their finished models and all their tools and everything like that. It's actually fascinating to me. And then they passed on to like 2 more people. And I've actually made a playlist, which I will link. I'll have it like in the description, and I'll have like a little card up in the corner or something like that of a playlist that I'm making of everybody who has done a little video for our challenge. Now, I'm probably missing some people, especially some of the Russian guys, because I'm not too, familiar with all their channels, stuff like that. But at least the guys who are, speaking English, like me, myself, and my viewers like that, I guess that's kind of what they're watching. I have a playlist of all the videos that I've found so far, and I'm going to be updating it. Everybody else's videos like this. So I've got myself, we got Scale Journal, we have Small Soldier, we have Adam Man, Hollywood Modeling. I just saw he put up his. I haven't watched it yet, but just a couple minutes ago he put it up. Shane Smith. I think we're going to have Braille Scale because he got challenged to do it, so put it up. Well, we're going to probably see his video in a couple days, and there's other people I'm probably missing as well. And also Bear Hobbies, he's also done his. And it's like so cool. So I'm already rambling on way too much like I usually do, so guys, I apologize. But like I said, I'm going to have the playlist there, so if you want to see a bunch of other cool channels you might not yet know, and if you also want to just check out other people's workbenches and all their cool stuff, I recommend you just go watch that playlist and have a look at all the amazing channels we have. Like, it's really cool because back like 5 or 6 years ago, when we used to always make these like videos, and then somebody would make like a video response back, and then they'd be kind of like discourse but in video form, people going like, oh yeah, here's something you might want to try because I saw your video. And it's kind of cool to see that almost happening again, with people making almost like a video response, or watching a video and thinking, oh, I want to participate in the challenge, and then doing their own video and then recommending a few other people. That's really cool, and it makes me happy to see that we have such a great modeling community here on YouTube. So I've rambled on enough. Let's get on to showing my finished models. Alright guys, this is my first 2 cabinets. For those who are curious, this is an IKEA Detolf cabinet. Not sure if they're still in production, but they do have these nice magnetized closing glass doors, which make them almost sealed. There's a little bit of a gap there, but they do a good job of keeping the dust out. They get kind of smudgy with your fingers, but whatever. I have the doors open right now because I've got a big softbox light here because it's really dark, even though I have lights in there. So I want to make sure you guys can see everything nicely. Now you'll notice that there are a lot of projects in here that are not actually finished. So let's start over on this side. So what I have here are a couple of, well, a trio of unfinished projects. I've got a Easy 8 Sherman here that I have recently added some stowage to because I had a Value Gear stowage set. So I've done a little bit of work on that. Might see it coming up soon, we'll see. I've got a couple of TACOM kits here. I've got a Merkava Mark I and a T29 E3. I did post-build reviews on all 3 of these kits, actually. You can just look on my post-build review playlist if you're curious. I want to kind of build a Sherman first, try out some stuff, and then I'm going to put a big effort on US Armor on this guy here, because that's pretty cool. Though these will all be in videos soon. I want to get this Merkava done up shortly because there's a group build that ends on June 20th, and I kind of want to participate in that a little bit. Also, a couple of figures over here. These are all actually plastic figures. They're Dragon. So this is a Russian motorcycle scout guy, I believe. And I've got a Kharkov guy here, another guy there, and I haven't painted figures in so long that, I kind of really want to paint some more figures, and I will be doing so shortly, but those are going to be some guys I guess I can practice on. Now over here I have a couple of other things. There's one of my mech kits that I do occasionally in the background because they're fun. I don't usually film them. I don't think I've ever actually filmed them except for one down here. But they're really, really fun just to get good at sanding and stuff. Everything kind of looks very red, sorry about that, but that's just my lights. So I've got a flak grilly here. It's basically a Gorilla 105 or 150 howitzer with a 30mm autocannon in there instead. There was like 2 of these things made. I did a couple of videos on the mud effects and the rusty tracks on this guy. Here is an E50 that I did a long time ago, and this is probably the oldest model I have that I am entirely happy with the finish on. Again, the lighting is kind of terrible, but if you can see there, like, I've got a pretty decent pin wash and everything, and you know, I did a lot of work with oils. Probably one of the first major oil projects I had. I have some like dead foliage on there because it's supposed to be abandoned. Only thing that's not great about it is there are some pin marks in the tracks, because that's just how it was. So I might replace the tracks just to bring it up to modern standards, but it is a pretty fun project I did, and probably my favorite, and also my favorite old tank projects of mine that I still keep around up at the top here because it looks pretty good. I got a Panzer 3 knocked out winter diorama over here that I did a bunch of videos on, probably at least 4 videos on weathering the tank, doing the winter camouflage, and also building the diorama. I've got a playlist on that on my channel. I think it's called Winter Weathering Techniques. Got a T-34 over here, a fairly old project. This is before I was doing stuff like pin washing, so it's not great, but it is still pretty nice, so I keep it up here at the top. So I've got down here a couple more things. I've got a couple of my mechs over here. Now I did do a video on the mech at the back. They're doing a little bit of hairspray chipping on the weapons, I think, but that was more of just like a quick demo video. Got a Panzer 3 here that I did a whole bunch of years ago, but it's also looking pretty good. A lot of oil work on that. Probably the first time I did major oil color modulation on there. Sorry it's so dark, but my camera just doesn't like the lighting in this corner of my room. Here's my T40. I did a just earlier this year, last year I guess. Since the end of the series of videos that I did on it, I have found some lenses for the lights, and I've also added a little bit of snow to the wheels and tracks, so it's looking pretty good. I've got my Panzer 1 here. I did a full hour-long video on painting and weathering this thing, and if you want to check that out, again, it's on my channel, maybe 2 years ago. Underneath that, there's an award there. I won at the Capcom show here just in October or September. If you can see that, it's a big one because I got first place in German closed-top armor with that tank, and I'm very happy with that. Back here I have a diorama. I do have a video on how I built this diorama. Diorama was originally meant for the E50 up here, but I've since put my Waffenträger turret on gun chassis build on there because I think it fits a little bit better. It's like a kind of like a what if late war kind of thing. Over here we have a bunch of more unfinished projects. Got my initial Tiger here that I think I'm going to leave it for a little bit because I just am doing a Tiger right now. So I think I'm going to let it sit for a while and then maybe do this in about a year or so, finish it up. Got my T-34 122 there that I'm building with Small Soldier. I'm trying to get some Abteilung oils for it because I want to show a bunch of AK weathering products on that thing. And I just can't get Abteilung oils right now because of the situation, so I might just use the Wilder oils, which are of course fine. I just want to also show you guys how to weather a tank using AK stuff because I'm always using Wilder stuff. I also want to give you guys just some variation in products. I've got my BMP-1 with BTR-70 turret that I showed recently. Again, that's a 3-year-old project that I just showed a little bit of the footage on because I figured I'm never going to probably finish the thing, so I might as well just show you the cool hairspray chipping I did on that. This is a 128 anti-tank gun. That's the gun that goes on that kind of like chassis, because this is a Waffenträger turret. The Waffenträger hull components were then used to contribute towards this guy. Complicated thing, but basically I've got this gun left over. Might put it in some kind of bunker or something, we'll see. Got a T90 over here that is painted, and basically that's it, just painted. That's a Meng kit, really good kit. And down here I have a couple of old projects, old Sherman. If you can see, there's an old AV, that's a trumpeter I believe, AVGP Cougar. Pretty pleased with this build, but again, that's before I was doing stuff like pin washing. But I still did some good mud effects on there. You can also see my old Warhammer army down there. That's about 1,000 points of Tau. Like 5 years ago, that's what 1,000 points of Tau looked like. I started converting them over to winter bases, but I never finished that. Oh well, I probably will just finish that off soon and maybe paint a couple more guys up just for fun. Down here I have a really old diorama I did. Really old, but it's kind of cool. Hopefully I can jack up the lighting in a post-production. More old projects over here. I've got a T-80, an old diorama with an SU-85, Panther painted a la Bovington, an old Panzer IV that I did some videos on. Got a couple of Nerf guns over there to shoot my brother with. Over here I've got old T-34, Panzer IV, Bt.2 that I won an award with, bronze at a few years ago in Montreal, I think. This T-62 is a pretty old project of mine, but I do have a bunch of videos on it. I think it's called Heavy Weather on a Modern Tank. Pretty cool subject there with all the ERA. Got a little Warhammer guy there as well, an extra guy. 1:100 scale Panzer III from Zvezda, I believe. And this Panzer II I built forever ago for the Holy Toledo. It's a Panzer II group build, probably 6-7 years ago at least. It's got a howitzer in it because I did a little bit of like a what if thing. That's about it for this side of my room. This is 2 of my 3 shelves. As you can see, a lot of my projects here are unfinished, but you know, I just kind of pile them up. Like this shelf is entirely unfinished things, right? There's not a single finished thing in there except for the old guys at the bottom. This one here is mostly my finished stuff. Alright, now I bet some of you were wondering where all the Stug 3s were. My third shelf is entirely Stug 3 except for the bottom. So, you all know I like Stug 3s. Again, please forgive the fact the lighting is not ideal, but I've had to drag my softboxes over because this one doesn't have there's no light up in the top of this guy yet. I've got my Stug 3s arranged in a year production order, basically. So I've got an Aus B there, old Tamiya kit, really good kit. Got some resin stowage on it from Value Gear. It's just kind of sitting around. Aus CD upgunned. This is a work in progress. I've filmed the application of that winter camo. Just got to give it the wash and the mud effects, of course. I've got my Sturmfreude Schutz 33 Aus B here, which is like basically an Aus E chassis. Got an Aus E that's prototype that was upgunned to test the feasibility of the 105 and also the 75mm guns. This is the 105 example. So I used a Bronco Aus E kit, and then I put some Dragon parts to make it the prototype testing, basically the Aus F feasibility. Early Aus F here, late Aus F here. Down here then we have initial production Aus G, which is like January 1943. Then we have February 1943 production. Then we have April 1943 production. I'm going to have another mid there, or I guess an early, kind of like this, but maybe once they got the side skirts on there. A few other features, and then we've got a couple of mids here. These are Mieg and Alket Factory. This one is not finished yet, but I have filmed the entire process of painting that camouflage pattern. And you can see it's basically ready for the wash and all that stuff. So there might be a video on that eventually. I've just got the footage waiting around in case I decide to finish it. These both have Zimmer and stuff like that, so they're pretty cool. Alright, down here I have a bunch of older builds. That's the first Stug 3 kit I ever built, second kit I ever built. Dragon kit, pretty good. Don't build that as your second kit ever, but pretty fun. I've got an older Stug 3 there with Zimmerit, like a rebuilt vehicle for training purposes. The Mini Art prototype vehicle for the Stug 3, like the prototype test bed on an early Panzer III hull. Stug 4 with snowplow and an old Aus A. This guy and also this guy here are sitting around because I want to show you guys how to paint the interior of a Stug 3. Colors to use on German tank interiors, basically. And I'm going to kind of use both those as my example for how to do that. At the bottom here I have a bunch of older projects that are all just kind of sitting around. Some of these are fairly recent, but these are all just guys that are kind of sitting around because I'm probably not going to paint them soon, I guess. Got an, if you can see there, Dragon RSO, basically a tracked truck. I've got a half truck. Oh, you can barely see it because it's primed in like the darkest red ever. That's an STKFZ 7 half track with a flat gun on the back. An Orochi M3 or M2 something Bradley, I don't know which type it is. I've got to fix the gun on that because it broke off, and I've got to do a little bit of filling on the headlights, but it's a pretty good kit. These are all finished, by the way. I've got a Tamiya P40 Italian heavy tank, 1/48 scale, which is why it's smaller. Tamiya Crusader Mark 1, and over there I've got a Polish KTO Rosomak, which is IBG models. Excellent kit. I did that build for Armorama, and I do want to do that one fairly soon because I want to show you guys a modern tank. It's gonna be basically NATO green with tan side skirts and a couple other things like that, but in the desert theater in Afghanistan basically. So that one is probably going to be the first modern tank you see me do. I can't promise when you'll see it, but it's a cool subject. It's a massive vehicle, by the way. It's like a Lav 3 style thing, but if you can see there, it's pretty cool. Alright, so there we have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope the lighting was not too terrible. I have not yet looked at the footage. Hopefully I can bump up the brightness because that was pretty dark. My camera just... Okay, it's not that dark in here, but my camera just doesn't like it at all. But hopefully you guys could see some of my older projects and you guys were curious about that, so hopefully that answers some of your questions and you can see how many kits I actually finish. There's probably some more in the boxes down here that I'm just never going to finish. They're just painting wheels at this point. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. Hope it piqued your curiosity. And again, I will have the link at the end of the video and in the description, somewhere like that, for the playlist I'm going to make, which is going to have all the videos that I can find of people participating in the quarantine challenge here, showing the same thing. Anyways, I will see you guys on Friday afternoon for the next video on my Tiger 1 here. If you follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you guys can already see the engine deck and glossy effects I've already done on this guy, so look forward to that. I've got a couple more videos on it after that, where I'll do the mud and the tracks and stuff like that. And then we'll be on to the next project, which is going to be a little bit of a surprise for most of you guys. I will see you guys then, on Friday with this, and then in the future with more videos. Stay safe, happy modeling, and build more kits.